themselves. This is Canada, and we expect them to answer our questions if we are going to let them come into our country, come into our hospitals, and start inoculating your parents, your children, and yourself. Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has invited none other than the military of China themselves to come to Canada and test out a possible vaccine on the people of Canada, and it includes a genetic component that was developed partly by the National Research Council of Canada. Now, of course, we all know that China is to blame for this Wuhan virus, a virus that has crippled the world. It's not the people of China that are to blame, but the government of China. And now Justin Trudeau, for some reason, has invited that very government to come and inoculate his own people. We have been concerned in the past and currently that Justin Trudeau is in the pockets of the Chinese government, of the Communist Party of China, and this almost confirms it, that he is willing to use public money and the Canadian people as dummies in his test for a solution to the problem that was created by China themselves. Now, I'm not an anti-vaxxer by any sense of the word. I'm totally up to date on all of my vaccines. I even have a few extra, but the last people on this entire planet that I would trust to inoculate me or my family is the Chinese government. But for some reason, Justin Trudeau is open arms when it comes to the Chinese military coming to Canada to inoculate us. You can't make this stuff up. They expect CanSino, the company, to come to Canada by September so that they can begin inoculating us. Now, I find this curious, just like Prime Minister Trudeau, who is very shy from any media that he hasn't bought off. This company will also not respond to interview requests from the media here in Canada. Globe and Mail was the first to report on this. Now, they say here that they tried to reach out to the company, but it was completely hush-hush when it came to answering any questions. You'd think if you were trying to convince the entire world, or at least a country, that your vaccine was the one to take, that your vaccine would be the one that solves all of your problems that were made by the Chinese government in the first place, you might be a little bit more open than is usual for a Chinese company or the Chinese military themselves. This is Canada, and we expect them to answer our questions if we are going to let them come into our country, come into our hospitals, and start inoculating your parents, your children, and yourself. For Rebel News, I'm Cian Bexty. Thanks for checking out our coverage here at Rebel News. Be sure to like and subscribe to us here on YouTube. And if you haven't, ring the bell at the bottom of this video. If you do that, YouTube can't redirect traffic to mainstream media sites. You'll get the news straight to your mobile device whenever it is.
Trudeau's meeting last week with a group of Toronto women was an example. Even with Sun TV watching for any slip, he was asked which country he most admired and referred to China.
There's a level of admiration I actually have for China because their basic dictatorship is allowing them to actually turn their economy around on a dime and say we need to go green as fast as we need to start investing in solar. I mean, there is a flexibility that I know Stephen Harper must dream about, of having a dictatorship that he could do everything he wanted, that I find quite interesting.
I found it a bit silly for Justin Trudeau to say that what he admired the most was a dictatorship, frankly. I've always been rather fond of democracies.
A Canadian politician said, I look for China. I'm admire of the basic dictatorship in China. That is not only shocking, that is a shame.
The point I made was that the level of admiration I actually have for China. Their admiration I actually have for China. Basic dictatorship. Basic dictatorship I actually have for China. Their admiration I actually have for China. Their basic dictatorship. Their basic dictatorship. Basic dictatorship. Admiration I actually have for China.